Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life with Migdalia. I'm your host, Migdalia. I really don't think that I should keep saying that because, it's a given. But I don't know if anyone else is having this problem, but technology this week specifically has been chaotic and crazy. Little life update things. Actually, I'm not going to do like a full life update. I'm simply going to say, because I don't want to jinx it, that things are looking a lot better this week, and I'm really excited for the things that I've been manifesting to come into fruition. And, I have a month left until more new things come into fruition. So all around a win-win situation for me and my girlfriend. Financially though, bartending has been kind of slow because all the college kids left and there's not really much to do. So, but you know what? It's okay. We're just going to roll with the punches. And, everything happens for a reason and comes back around and whatever else. So I told you before, since it's Pride Month, we're going to keep on the consistency of, the whole aspect of it. And when I was in high school, we would always have these projects to do. And I never really knew that it was a hidden thing. Like, there will be a lot of people who say the people who are the most passionate about, equality when it comes to sexuality and everything, the strongest allies, the most passionate allies, are secretly the ones that are gay. And that definitely played a role, because I remember in high school we would have these projects where we would have to make PowerPoints and just projects speaking on something that you're so passionate about. And I always did the whole gay rights thing where love is love. You shouldn't have to, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, be, I don't know, just villainized for being in love with someone. Because genuinely speaking, you cannot control who you are in love with. You cannot control who you fall in love with. And there is homosexuality within 2,500 species of animals, which gained some perspective on this shit isn't just human. It goes all around within, penguins and lions as my two main examples. And the joke being, when you see cardinals for the holidays, on stuff, and people are like, oh my God, I love cardinals. They're so cute. But you see two red cardinals, all cozied up together. Whoa, together. That's two male cardinals, because they're the fucking reddest of, it's always the males who have the most color versus the females who don't. So I always laugh when I see that stuff pop up on social media, all these people who, don't support gay rights and everything, but yet they have fucking this weird obsession with cardinals, and they have two males cuddling together in love, all over their house. I just think it's funny. But I would always do these projects with such passion and whatever else. And when I tell you that my gaydar was completely off, there was this kid, his name's Ryan, and cutie patootie, very attractive. I remember him sitting next to me in my English class. What was it? Junior year? Yes, I believe so. Junior year. Now, I don't think he was openly gay at that point. Shout out Ryan if you ever fucking listen to this. He was sitting next to me, and I remember asking him, like we would chit chat and stuff. He was very much like you fucking knew. Like you knew. He was very pretty looking, you know, very sweet, very more like soft spoken. He had the softer voice where you could just tell. And me being dumb, I just didn't. So I remember asking him like, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" Because I thought that he was just a cutie pie. And I remember when he finally did tell me, he was like, "Yeah, I remember telling my group of friends that you asked me if I had a girlfriend," and they just laughed and said, "Nope, but he definitely wants a boyfriend." And I was, yeah, it was fucking funny because I just couldn't tell. I did not have a gaydar back then. Like, it had to be just blatantly obvious. But, you know, speaking to him and thinking back now, like, it was really obvious. I was just oblivious to whatever the fuck things. But, you know, and in middle school, there was this one kid, we all knew. Like, that was more obvious. Like, we all knew. And I remember, I'm about to repent or whatever, you know, we're talking about our shit. I was a bully, okay? In the beginning stages of middle school, I was a fucking asshole. And I shouldn't even say was, like, because I still have some tendencies of being an asshole. I was very much a bully 6th and half of 7th grade, I would say. And I was like growing out of being a bully that I can't remember what him and I got into an argument over. He was crying about something because I think I had called him gay. Like, it was very much in that time period where everything was gay. You know, like, oh, that's fucking gay, or that's gay, or this is gay. So it was very much in the, I don't even want to say era, but the time frame of when, you know, everything was gay. And there had to be a fucking commercial of Hillary Duff in, what was it, like a store, and these two teenagers were like shopping for clothes, and the other one asked, "Does this look cute or whatever?" And the other kid goes, "No, it's super gay." And she's like, "Hey, don't say that. You shouldn't associate gay with being a bad thing." Like, whatever. It was very much in that time frame. So I think I had said something along those lines. He had not, you know, embraced it because this is fucking middle school. A lot of people don't know who they are in middle school. Nobody does. We're fucking children, you know, literal babies. And I had sent something to him, and then I remember he like started crying. It was right before, it was during lunch, and we were about to go back to class. And the teacher ended up calling me and him out to go speak in the hallway, or like I was already in class and he was in the hallway talking to the teacher, and she wanted us to like hash it out. So he got upset, rightfully so, about me like saying flat out whatever. And I think I was more so like, everyone knows it, so why don't you just accept it and say it out loud? And that was none of my business. As a 12-year-old girl, that was none of my fucking business. I had no right, but again, we were children. And he was upset. And then he said something to me, and then I started defending myself for the whole victim mentality, whatever. And I started crying as well. Because I don't know what it is about when other people cry. I always like tend to cry. And it was just like a back and forth thing. He never spoke to me ever again. And I ended up texting him like years later, apologizing, because it was one of those things in the back of my mind when I really thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I fucked up, and I really wish like I hadn't have done that, and I apologized. He never responded, which that's okay. But I was just a fucking asshole, because one, growing up, you know, not making a lot of friends, ultimately kind of turned me into a loner / asshole, and I was very awkward. I didn't know, like, and then finally I just grew up out of it, and something changed And, the older I get, the better I get. And Pugsley used to say the same thing, like how I was super awkward, how I would say out of pocket things, which I don't mind saying out of pocket things. Like, I don't know. I just don't care about being super awkward. I've kind of just accepted it and saying the most craziest shit, because why not? To be cringe is to be free, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. Partially kidding. But, him, not Pugsley, but the kid that I was mean to in middle school, like, he had every right. And same thing with Ryan. Like, people have every right to hide themselves from coming out. And people think that finally coming out, is the hardest part. And don't get me wrong, because it is absolutely terrifying. But to pretend to be someone that we aren't, that slowly eats away and breaks a person. And you could know who you are at a very young age. Like, you could know, hey, I love being with the same sex. Or, hey, I love everybody. I want to be with a guy and a girl. Or I want to be with just a non-binary person. Or this or that. But coming to terms with that, especially in the society that we were raised in, it is very challenging because you don't know how people are going to respond. Somebody could be so completely awesome and just this all-around nice person and whatever, and maybe they have some sort of weird thing where they just have that homophobia. And a lot of us have internalized homophobia, and I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of us take so long to come to terms with that. And it can be instilled in our brains. Like, for example, if you come from a family that's like, being gay is a sin and being gay is wrong, or, your parents always point out people, who are openly gay, like men who love, dressing more feminine, or vice versa with females, masked lesbians, and they like judge them in the street and they're like, oh my God, can you believe like what they're wearing? That's insane. That's just, I can't believe they would do that. Why can't they wear, what they're supposed to wear? That mentality plays its role within our minds of being like, okay, so they have a problem with this. So are they going to have a problem with me? They're going to have a problem with me. You just like start incubating these thoughts of like, oh my God, I can't. Like, I can never tell them. And you never know like who's going to be fucking what, or who has a problem or who doesn't have a problem. So it's very scary coming to terms with it, and like even more so within yourself, because when I was, going about it, I don't know why, but I was really strung up on the title of things because I had labeled myself as heterosexual for the longest time because that's who I wanted to be, because it was deemed normal. It's not fucking normal. Normal is an illusion. Okay? What's normal to you is unusual to someone else. And we have to get that understanding within ourselves. Like, normal doesn't mean shit. So I remember having this conversation with my girlfriend when we first started talking. I was like, I'm just having like a hard time grasping it and really like going with it and whatever else. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it, where they have a hard time labeling it. That's why I said in the previous episode, like, the thing that got me through it and like just regarding the whole label thing is, say you are freshly out of the closet, this is the first time you're dating someone of the same sex, and you're like freaking out about the labels, okay? You would still be with the same person even if you were bisexual or pansexual. You would still be with the same sex person if you just liked everyone. And that kind of got the ball rolling of me coming to terms and accepting like the new, fresh identity of myself. And I know a lot of people have like issues with, let's say, Fletcher, for example, the singer female who is known for her, lesbian background, who makes songs about being openly gay and everything. One of my favorite artists, okay? Ever since she, I don't know, started dating a man, I was kind of like, But then I realized that, maybe she found a great connection with someone. Not even putting a gender on it, just someone. Because in my mind, we are all souls on borrowed time within these bodies, okay? And it's none of our business who has sex with whomever or falls in love with whomever. I think being human is such a gift within itself because we are so emotionally us that we can be in love and fall in love with whoever we want. And it's no one else's business, right? So there are a lot of people who really just, a lot of people who just hated the concept that, this famous person who is widely known for being in same-sex relationships all of a sudden started dating the opposite sex when she created her platform specifically on same-sex relationship and, her being gay, and then all of a sudden it changed. And it's not her fault. It's none of our business, If you find a connection with somebody, then you find a connection with somebody. And life is too short. It doesn't matter. But I think the only issue is like, oh, you built this platform, being like labeling yourself as a lesbian and then turn around and date the opposite sex. Like, that's the whole thing. And, shit happens, I guess. None of our business. And sometimes people will ask me like, oh, could you ever see yourself like dating a man again? And I always have to say no, because this version of me right now, absolutely not. Like, I am very much in it with my girlfriend, and I've said it before, like, I cannot imagine dating somebody ever again unless, I'm single. That's just how it works in my brain. I cannot imagine dating somebody else when I'm already dating somebody or like in a serious relationship with somebody. I can't do it. I don't know why. Can't imagine myself because, that's not who I am right at this moment. So I just say no. But, you cannot expect anything. And I keep telling everyone that, like, just expect the unexpected because you never know what could happen in your life. And, we can't always judge people on certain aspects of things, but like, I don't know. We just can't really judge people. Love is love in my mind. That was always a thing. That was always my concept. And coming out was very hard, and accepting it after I was, trying to play the role and play house and, being freaked out by being with another woman because I'd never been with a woman before, and I was terrified that it would change everything. And it was making me fucking miserable, not accepting it or having the support that I needed or wanted. Like, my friends, when I came out to them, it was around Christmas time of 2023, and they were so supportive. They were the absolute best. And at first, what the fuck was her nickname? Penny. When Penny and I were pretty close, I always thought that she was bisexual based off of, how she was. But I think she more so wanted the validation of everybody and, to be loved by everyone, that it really didn't matter if they had, whatever they had between their legs. And it got to a point where sometimes I think she got super jealous of when my girlfriend and I were talking, like when we first started talking. I don't know if it was jealousy because she wanted a relationship and she couldn't have one, or if it was the fact that my girlfriend was taking my attention away from her, if that makes sense. I don't know, but it gave off weird vibes after I came out because it was very questionable. And then you have people, in those situations, or when you do finally come out and people think, like, make it all about your personality. Like, oh yeah, this is my friend, she's gay. And then they only know me as being gay. And then it changes the atmosphere. For example, if when they introduce me, to women or whatever, I don't know why. Like, hey, this is my friend Migdalia. She's gay. She's a lesbian. Whatever. And these women would like change their tune in a way that either was like, I don't want her hitting on me, or, oh my God, that's amazing. And then being all up on me because they wanted my attention, because they thought that they were my type. And I'd have to like, explain it further. Like, yeah, I'm into masculine women. And it was just, I don't know. It's hard to describe the change if you don't actually like, know what the hell I'm talking about. But there's always that feeling of, oh, could she be into me because she's the, like, one of the only, like, lesbians around, or, one of the only women that, is actually into women. Is very weird. That's why I don't always, like, say it. Like, it's not the first thing that comes out of my fucking mouth when I, like, introduce myself to someone. But I think it's more so, like, them chasing the validation instead of the connection. And, convincing myself that if I just tried harder, I'd become this person that everyone expected me to be. And the hardest part prior wasn't, lying to everyone, because I didn't think I was lying. I didn't know what was going on until I finally faced it fucking head first. And there comes grief that you realize how much of your life you kind of wasted. Because I have these moments of regret where I wish I would have realized it in high school. Because I don't want to be this amateur that, doesn't know all the things when it comes to the sex portion of being with a woman. And when I tell you that being with a woman is one of the hardest things that I have ever had to do, it is. It's very challenging, because there's always like some type of attitude involved or sassiness, and then it just like, becomes bickering like siblings or old people. And I wish I would have realized it in middle school when I had that huge crush on Nessa, or at least in high school. And I feel like I wasted so much time and energy instead of accepting either bisexuality first and then just transitioning into being like, oh yeah, I prefer women. And there's a lot of people who come out as gay and then they realize like, oh yeah, I'm actually bisexual, because we're all just like trying to figure that shit out. But our sexuality is one of those things that take time. And I wish I would have known it more sooner rather than later so I could gain that experience in dating women, because it being one of the hardest things I've done, I think it's more so that way because of the lack of experience that I've had. And dating men versus dating women, totally fucking different. And all relationships are hard. But it was very much like me grieving those lost years. I'm like, damn, I really wasted my fucking time. And then it goes hand in hand with like, okay, but did I actually? Because they all taught me very valuable lessons. And I really don't know. But I always wonder like who I could have been if I had, realized it a lot sooner. And wondering how many choices and stuff were actually mine. And I was simply afraid. I didn't know how anyone would react. I didn't know how my family would react. In coming to terms with that, I didn't realize how society would act. And I really don't like the whole, like, people always have their fucking opinions of like, oh, but why do you? Or, men have said, oh, I really wish you were, into guys too, because you're just so beautiful. Like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, I don't need you wishing on a fucking star saying all of this stuff to me. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I was never really scared of like losing relationships as a point, because I had just met a lot of my friends. And yeah, it would have sucked, but a lot of them were very understanding. And I had come to terms with, if people left, they left. But it was more so dealing with like my family, who was already pretty judgmental, that I didn't want to deal with, whatever they would have said. But my family was very cool and very supportive about it. Like, my mom legit just said, you know what? I told her, I was like, oh yeah, I'm talking to a girl. And she was like, you live your life the way that you want to live your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, being in society, because of Pride Month, there's a reason. Like, my parents could have easily said, like, hey, get the fuck out. And there's a lot of people who have, parents like that, who don't care. Like, I was watching this one video on TikTok where this dad found his son and his son's, like, friend/boyfriend in bed together, and basically made this kid go to conversion therapy because he didn't want to accept the fact that his son was gay, and made it seem wrong and whatever else. And it was one of those like judge shows where they're sitting in a courtroom, and this dad was suing his son for a few $100s because the son stopped going to conversion therapy camp. Like, could you imagine? And if you are someone whose family, like, had you go through that or coerced you into going through that, I'm really sorry, because that's absolutely disgusting. But I just couldn't imagine, like, someone making you feel so badly about yourself that they made you go through something so horrible like that. And it does happen. It happens more often than we would think. But you don't have to conform to someone else's opinions. And I wish I never would have done that. Because coming out is painful, but I think hiding yourself away is more painful, because we have to be our authentic selves, or else it will eat away at us. And love is love, okay? It doesn't matter. It does not matter who you fall in love with. You have people around who won't judge you. And if they do, I hate to say it, but you need better people in your life. Because nobody should make you feel bad for, the purest form of an emotion, and that's love. It shouldn't be someone else's judgment or, their issue. It's no one else's business. And if you're listening to this and you're still figuring yourself out, you don't owe anyone a timeline. You don't owe anyone an explanation. But you do deserve a life where you don't have to abandon yourself, okay? Pride isn't just about celebrating who you love. Sometimes it's simply about surviving the years you couldn't. And there is nothing wrong with becoming the person you've always been. Finally shaping into someone who can be themselves and love whoever they want and just celebrate life. Because we don't have a lot of time here. And who wants to live the life, hiding themselves away in a dark closet and, being miserable? Okay? People who don't understand you in a way where they're like, I don't know why you can love the same sex. I don't know how you can do that. Like, that's fucking disgusting. It's all this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay? They don't have to understand it. They don't have to get it. If they want to be hateful and miserable and disgusting, that's their problem. But all you're doing is showing someone love and being there and supporting them and having their back and wanting to spend your life with somebody in a peaceful way. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's more sinful and disgusting to hate everyone rather than just accepting people for who they are and what they love to do and who they love. It is nobody else's business. Like, I don't understand how people can go and live and have that mentality throughout their whole entire life. Like, it's weird. It is weird to me. We celebrate life because it could end at any given moment. And I don't know how I forgot to fucking say this, but it more so put this in perspective for me this past weekend of anything could fucking happen at any moment, because I was at work, and this regular came in and he was getting a drink. He sat down outside at one of the high top tables, and all of a sudden something happened with his heart and he fell, busted his head. He has a huge gash on his forehead and he was turning purple. He died for a few minutes. Like, he was fucking dead. And my coworker and friend Ella, shout out Ella, saved this man's life. Did CPR, got him a few more minutes than, anybody else. Because when stuff like that happens, every second counts. We immediately called 911. They got him, breathing again. There was a pulse again, and rushed him to the hospital. And now he's in ICU. But stuff like that could happen at any given moment in time. Why waste a single moment of your life pretending to be someone you're not? Like, why are we wasting it being yes men and people pleasers and whatever else? Like, we're always trying to accommodate and please people that we shouldn't. And at any given moment in time, something could happen and our lives could end. And how would somebody be remembered? How would you be remembered? Would you be remembered as somebody who lived authentically and loved everyone? Or would you rather be remembered as someone who seemed to always have a secret hidden behind their eyes? Or who always pleased everyone and could never say no and had a problem accepting themselves and were too shy to, be themselves because they didn't want to disappoint other people? Life is too short to give a damn what anybody else thinks. And I will forever try to talk somebody out of being a people pleaser, because you can say no, and if they hate you or dislike you because you're finally living your truth and being authentic to yourself and living the life that you want, then fuck them. Who cares? You weren't put on this planet to please anybody but yourself. Love whoever you want, be whoever you want, as long as it's not hurting, animals or another person. Like, be who you are. Think and really internalize what that means to you. Because finally coming to terms with everything and loving someone of the same sex made me feel like I was glowing on the inside out. And people noticed. Like, I remember when I first, came out and I was talking to my girlfriend, people would compliment me and be like, oh my God, you're glowing. Like, you look so different than how you were. Granted, I then started to get fucking depressed because of, life not going the way that I wanted to. But I was also really miserable. Like, I was turning into somebody that I didn't want to be around because I was so unhappy. But I'm just going to blame that on seasonal depression, honestly. And, 2-3 years after finally this will be my 3rd year, but finally accepting myself and saying no and being more outspoken about what I want and, who I love, and literally wearing fucking t-shirts that say kiss whoever the fuck you want, like being openly gay and proud and loving same sex, loving my girlfriend. Like, not a lot of people I have had, experience with of people coming up to me and being like, oh, that's fucking disgusting. Like, a lot of people are pretty, accepting about it. But I will say that this is coming from a feminine standpoint, because masculine women or butch women have it a lot different, especially when masculine women go into bathrooms and you have people who don't understand, thinking like, oh my God, there's a guy in a fucking women's bathroom. Are you lost? Their experiences are a lot different, because I know they get a lot more dirty looks rather than feminine women who, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's more of a sexual fantasy for specifically like men. Like, men don't really have a problem with feminine lesbians because of the whole sexual fantasy, but masculine women, not as much. But men still hit on masculine women anyway, which is such like a little brain teaser, because I'm like, how are you hitting on a masculine woman that dresses and more so looks like a guy? And what is it for? Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of, like, are you sure you're not gay because you're hitting on somebody who is dressing and looking like a guy? Like, that's always my question. Like, anytime somebody hits on my girlfriend, like a guy specifically is hitting on my girlfriend, I'm like, is he gay? Is he? Like, that's a really interesting. That is. It's a brain teaser right there. But I don't know. And they're always going to have that different perspective, and maybe, I'll have her say her piece and stuff about it, but I know she gets dirty looks. I know she gets the looks from other women, or older women specifically, where they're like, what the fuck? Every time she goes into the bathroom and everything else. And, you know, being stereotyped, I guess, is hard for her as well. But she handles it very well. That's not always the case for some people too. That's all I gotta say. So that is the end of this episode. If you guys really liked it, enjoyed it, you know what to do, share it, send it to somebody, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the Spotify account. If you guys are interested in purchasing products such as jewelry, or anything else that I have on my Etsy page, there's a link in my Instagram bio and TikTok. So my Instagram is Migdalia Bonilla, Migdalia, B as in boy, Onillaa, or Life with Migdalia, Lifewithmigdalia. God, it's so exhausting having a long fucking name, but whatever. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And like my TikTok and whatever else is pretty much the same. So if you want to give a follow or whatever, do what you gotta do. I appreciate your guys' support, always. If you're interested in listening to, a different topic or have any questions or whatever, don't be scared to comment something or, DM me. More so comment, okay? I look at my comments more than anything. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Love you, bye.